Wow, we hit 500 subscribers tonight. Thank you all so much for the support and all your kind words. It's wonderful to see our channel, because it is our channel. This channel would be nothing without you telling me in the comment section what you're thinking. That our channel is growing far faster than I would have deemed it possible in such a short time. Thank you all so much. So, being a centrist and all, I'm kind of pissed off hearing that the center dies and has to die, that a big and glorious fight between the right and the left has to happen and will happen. Yeah, we are boring. So what? I met a girl and we had for some strange reasons a discussion about evolution, because she told me at some point that she doesn't believe in evolution. And I know, if you drop a ball into a crowd in America, you have at least a decent chance to hit someone who doesn't believe that either. But if you do that in Austria, I mean, of course, far away from our no-go zones and other Islamic enriched places, finding actually Austrians who don't believe in evolution, well, that's kind of hard. So I pointed out the arguments for evolution, and she told me, yeah, stop it, I know that, I understand that, but it's boring, and I believe in aliens, and aliens did all this, and biology has to take this into account because my feelings matter after all. Okay, facts are boring, I get that, but okay, go away from that and look into what centrists are and why they are so inhomogeneous. So let's go back to our good old friend, the political compass, and if you're not familiar with it, there is a video from me out there, Strengths of the Political Compass. It will answer most of your questions that might come up. Okay, so now let's throw out the axis out of the window and label it in however you want. Doesn't matter in this regard. Or no, let's say keep the simplified version here. Might make it easier. So within the whole world of politics there are several topics. But let's say you are for the idea that the automotive industry should be 100% private. And that's not a social issue. It's in the middle regarding social agenda, but it's on the far right regarding economics. So over here, represented by this greenish ball. And if it is for some strange reason the only thing you care about, that's also the position that you hold in the political compass, and is represented by this greenish cross. But let's say you are a bit more complex person, and you have an additional topic that is of interest for you. And this is that you think that the water supply should be monopolized by the state. So no water sources should be held by privates. Okay then, you get a point over here. And with this additional point, your result position, of course, moves. In this case, more or less to the center. And then another dude comes along and he cares about exactly the same things. But he says, no, the automotive construction should be to 3/4 in the hand of the state. And water should be 3/4 in the hand of privates. Represented in this case by the orange ball and the orange cross. And the result? Well, the green and the orange cross overlap. You have two people standing side by side and occupying the same result, the same space, but have not all too much in common with each other. And that's the reason the center is so inhomogeneous. But let's go to another aspect. You may have more things you care about, and then it looks like that. So where's your position? Well, somewhere over there. Okay, fair enough. If one position changes, like you say, you go with some position more right, the result will change with it. But as you can see there, even if you change very drastically in one point, your result might not change all too much. There is of course something else that can happen. One point might become more important to you for some reasons, or another point may become less important, here represented by the shrinking and the growing of the circles. No, that doesn't mean that these topics now have more right and left at the same time. It's just an illustration of importance. Your result will change then. And you did not change your perspective, you did not change what you want, you did not change what you stand for or what you believe in. all what you have changed there is your set of priorities. And I think this is what happens in the West to a large degree regarding the success of the right wing. With an ongoing civil war over here in Europe, fought by one side against another side that just wants peace and silence and the freedom that we in Europe used to have, all other topics start to fall in obscurity. If one topic starts to become so pressing that all other topics just don't matter anymore, you find yourself in strange places, because you see this diagram is not only true for voters, it's also true for parties. When I was young, the far-right leader in Austria, Jörg Haider, was famous for his fights with the leader of the Jewish community, Ariel Musikant. In other words, yeah, we did know where they came from. They hated, of course, the then Yugoslavs and fought against them. Some decades later, I know Jews that vote for them, and I know not one Serbian that does not vote for them. The paradigm changed. Those who are more in danger of being in a fight or victim of Muslim aggression vote for the only party that makes a stand against them. And to be true, I don't believe that the ressentiments against the Jews there are gone, but they don't make a fuss about anymore. They made a lot of efforts to redefine their relationships to the Serbians by putting a lot of emphasis to Christian values. So in this regards, I would say that the Freiheitlichen an der Strache are indeed different to the Freiheitlichen an der Haider. And I see this also from personal experience gained by talks to them. The younger generation is indeed different, well, which is kind of normal. I mean, they're young, reshaped structures all the time. That's normal. Things change, while the left still argues against things that Haider said 30 years ago, because they did not listen to the other side since 30 years. And that's not a joke, that's really the problem. They still say something like, ha ha ha, they say these guys take their workplaces, ha ha ha, silly proletarians, ha 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 ha. No, that's not the reason they vote right. They vote right because they don't want their daughters raped or want to be killed by some jihadis, and they don't want a president that tells them that they should start adopting Muslim customs. But of course, if you have a situation like that on your screen before you, where one point is so dominant that even if you hold mostly positions that are contrary to it, you will stick with them. Once the problem is solved, on the other hand, the people will move their priorities back. Without Islam in Europe, the right wing would have less importance than the environmentalists, as it used to be. We don't have a right shift in Europe or the world. We have a problem, an actual problem that threatens not our comfort or moral, it threatens our bodies, our lives. And those who live in these well-crafted, but for the working class, sadly, much too expensive safe spaces, don't care. They have a different set of values, motives and fear. That's normal. The wealthy has different things to deal with than the working class. I myself find me in between that. I have connections too far up and too far down. I have seen both. I talk to both as much as I can. But the problem is, the problem of the workers are life-threatening, while the problems of the rich have more to do with a bad conscience, because they know that they are rich, and because, at least to a degree, because they sold their own grandmother as lion food at some point. So, you see, these guys are either psychopaths with no conscience or people with a very bad conscience, or at least a bad conscience, from my experience. And that's the reason I tend to have more compassion for the working class. Not the poor class, the working class. They have my heart, they have my support, and they have my thanks for making all the stuffs I enjoy. Well, I hope I could have made some stuff clear and someone can use it in a discussion at some point to point out that if an issue is burning and puts everything else that you care about in a shadow, doesn't mean that you don't care for these other things. If one problem becomes so pressing that it shadows everything else. It has to be solved or we can never go back to normal. And in the end, I think that was most of us who work for building stuff to make the world a better place and a richer world actually want.